He's actually been talking to us before the show, hasn't he, Ali? And they've been going at it yet again about this blooming throwing coach.
Just let it go, man.
We'll maybe get to that in extra time. For the moment, though, of course, here on ESPN Plus today, you can catch the Copa del Rey, Barcelona in action against Leganés. Quique Setién putting out a strong side, and boy, were they impressive. 5-0 the victory, the first goal coming in just the 4th minute. Antoine Griezmann playing through the middle and getting the goal.
Hey!
Yeah, it's a nice little 1-2 with Semedo and Messi. Griezmann takes the first touch and the second one's through the defender's legs and home.
Barca make it 2-0 in the 28th minute. Longley with a header.
Gets across his defender, glancing header, finds that far post. Questions of whether Griezmann touches his ball. Well, he does, but the ball is already in. The goal counts.
Messi starting this game. Nice ball from De Jong would find the Argentine. His deflected effort would make it 3-0.
Well, it's a goal, but the nicest thing about it is that pass from De Jong and behind. From there, Messi just gets fortunate. Cuts inside, ricochet off the defender, falls at his feet, and then even worse, I don't think that's on target, and it comes off the defender and in the net.
13 minutes to go. Ansu Fati has his shot saved. Messi on the follow-up. Blocked on the line. Arthur, though, there to make it 4. And then, in the 89th minute, Messi, 5-0.
Surprised that he's in the game at this point. The game was already 4-0. Regardless, he gets it around the goalkeeper, scores his second goal, 5-0 Barcelona. No issues, no problems.
Very impressive stuff then from Barca, comfortably through to the next round. Right, how do we assess this, Ali? Considering how harsh you were on Barca after that defeat the weekend against Valencia, how much does this make up for it? How much do we see an improvement? How much is this Setién starting to take hold of this side?
Right. The best thing that could have happened to this team in today's game was an early goal. The second best thing that could have happened to this team is an early goal by Antoine Griezmann down the middle of the field, where he's actually in a center forward position, where he's actually receiving the ball in an area in which he can impact the game and score goals for Barcelona. Now, you may think that's not a big deal because this is Leganés, this is Copa del Rey, what have you. It is important because then you saw from Antoine Griezmann throughout the course of the first half moments in which he was making runs in those very same positions, whether it was hold-up play and then he found Arturo Vidal running in behind, or whether him getting in behind and creating an opportunity around the 25th minute, goalkeeper makes a save. Here's the point. They need Antoine Griezmann to be a presence there in the middle. They need him to be an option. They need him to score goals from those sort of areas because he doesn't have the freedom to go wherever he wants to. There's only one guy in this team that has that freedom, and that's Lionel Messi. So if Griezmann takes himself into wide areas or works underneath and there's nobody taking that central position, then nobody occupies the center backs. And if nobody occupies the center backs, people focus on Lionel Messi and it takes space away from Lionel Messi. Antoine Griezmann must be able to occupy the center backs, move them around so that then Lionel Messi can work the underneath spaces. If that happens with Barcelona, they become a lot more effective in the attack, they become a lot more dynamic, and to that end, the possession today had a purpose, which was not the case in the weekend. Today, the possession was going forward first, not backwards and sideways, forward first. Let's find spaces over there, and let's keep the pressure on Leganés. They never allow Leganés to breathe.
I think it's huge Griezmann scores, as you said. But the other thing is, you have to give them credit because some of the goals came from the type of play that we expect. You know, balls through from De Jong, Rakitic through to Messi, a little 1-2, Semedo gets in when Griezmann gets his goal. That's the Barcelona that we know, and that's the Barcelona we've been asking to see. So the only thing, you can say whether it's Leganés or not, but they haven't been doing this against weaker teams anyway. The fact that they've done it tells you that it's there. They just have to get some consistency and do it every game.
Julian Ron, as I mentioned, with us. Jules, obviously, you followed Griezmann throughout his career. Can he do what Ali is expecting him to do, to be that disciplined?
Yeah, I think he can. I think it was always going to take time for him and Messi to sort of get that partnership together, understanding each other's movement. And I don't think it's easy to play with Messi, maybe because he drops deep so much, because he does kind of whatever he wants on that pitch, which is normal because he's the best. And I think Griezmann always would have needed some time to just adjust and adapt to that. And I think in a way that the injury to Suarez is a good thing for Griezmann because that enables him to play in that central position, like Ali said, to be able to to be a presence there and show that he can also work with Messi and someone else on the other side, Ansu Fati in today's game, for example. But it would be Dembele one day and it could be someone else as well. And I think that was very important also, the goal for his confidence. I like the fact as well that Setien went to a back four and sort of dropped for now at least the back three that I think he went far too early with as soon as he took over. And I don't think the team was ready. I'm not even sure they have the personnel and the players to do that back three like the way he wants them to do. So I think there was certainly a lot of positive from that back four to Griezmann in the performance tonight.
In layman's terms, boys, obviously from playing the game, from the outside I think Griezmann is going to line up with Lionel Messi. It's going to be so much easier for him than it was in Atleti because the quality now that he's got around him. Why is it difficult and why have we seen in the past some players struggle to get that connection with Messi when in theory surely playing with the best player in the world should be a luxury?
Well, I think above everything else, when you get a player as a coach, you have to put him in a position where he's going to succeed. And if you're going to take somebody like Griezmann and start him off wide, then number one, you're not putting him in a position to succeed. Then he's going to be trying to do things that he doesn't normally do. Then there's no way he's going to have a connection with anybody, never mind Lionel Messi, because as great as Lionel Messi is, he still needs to have an understanding of what's going on and his teammates' brain. And so now that you've got a chance to get this guy in the middle, you've got to stick with it. That's the key. You've got to stick with it and you've got to keep talking to Griezmann and tell him to stay there. Then you'll get an understanding, not just with Messi, but with everybody else.
I think what has happened with a lot of players that come and play alongside Lionel Messi is that wherever they were before they came to Barcelona, they were the guy. They were the player.
Yep.
They were the angular piece.
Coutinho, a great example of that.
We are depending on you to make the difference. You come to Barcelona and you're not the guy. And you're not going to be the guy. And so now you're trying to sort of please Lionel Messi because you want that relationship to work. So you're kind of catering to Messi. And in doing that, you forget about the things that make you the impactful, game-changing player that you were before you came to Barcelona. And in catering to somebody else, you don't have that edge, that arrogance that made you that player. Finding that medium, finding that balance between having a relationship with Messi and understanding that having a relationship with Messi is going to make the game for you easier, and also understanding and having the patience that let that guy carry the load.
Right.
Let Messi be Messi. Let me just be the other guy. I can be the other guy because half of the time I'm either going to be in 1v1 situations or I'm going to be wide open because people are paying attention to him. So I'm not going to participate nearly as much in the game, but I'm going to find myself in better positions. That patience, it's hard to have when you have been the guy wherever you have been before. Finding that balance is the key for all of those players.
We discussed at length, of course, on yesterday's show, the possibility of Barcelona bringing anybody in to replace Luis Suarez, Willian, Rodrigo, of course, Richarlison as well, all linked. Well, Barcelona confirmed to Barca TV today, Jules, that no, they will not be bringing in any strikers. They're happy with what they have within the squad. Is that wise?
I think I'm not sure, I don't know if it's wise, but the fact is, and we have to be honest here, they don't have the money anyway to buy the players that they would have liked to buy or the players they thought would be fitting for this team. It's as simple as that. I don't think they can spend 80 million euros or 100 million euros on a top striker right now because it's not just replacing Suarez for this season. Suarez has been really good in the past 2 months before his injury, but Suarez's best days are behind him, not in front of him. So he would be spending the money now to get someone for the few years to come now as well, and to already prepare the after Suarez. And they just don't have the money for that. In terms of wage structure, they don't have it, and in terms of transfer fee, they don't have it either. So it was always going to be difficult to try to get someone like Lautaro Martinez, for example, because the money is not there for that. So I think, yes, it might be wise, but also it was a bit forced upon them because they don't have the finances for it.
So that's it. Barca have to make do with what they've got. No Suarez, of course, for the rest of the season.
Well, what they've got...
What are you laughing at?
Oh, you've got to make do with Griezmann off.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
It's an absolute disaster for Barcelona.
Yeah, what they've got should be more than enough for most teams around the world. the ambitions of Barcelona are greater than those of most teams around the world. And so that's where they have a problem, in that they don't quite know whether Griezmann is the answer. They're trying to find that out, but they're doing that on the run. They're trying to do as we go. There's no certainty of that, because they would have thought that by now you would say, you know what? Yeah, Griezmann was the right call for us. And yet I don't think they have that answer. That's why we're having the discussion about Antoine Griezmann, because there isn't a certainty that he will be that guy and will play that role. Big picture for Barcelona is, okay, no Luis Suarez. Griezmann's going to play down the middle. How do we go from here? And that's the answer that Quique Setién has to come up with. And in the end, we'll go back to the very basic principle. You got Lionel Messi. Lean on him and hope for the best.
Is that not the smart thing to do, though?
Yeah.
You know, Jules is there talking about, you know, what's going to happen after Suarez.
Right.
That's why you have to give this a run of games to see whether he can actually end up being that player right up the pipe that you want. And then you've already solved the problem that you think you might have.
Well, just a reminder, for more from Jules and Gab Marcotti as well, be sure to check out the latest edition of the Gab and Jules podcast, available now over on the website. Tomorrow sees the transfer window close in Europe. Some big deals maybe could be done over the next 24 hours. We talked about Cavani and his future a lot at PSG. Over the last few weeks, Jules, any chance he could leave France? Atleti, of course, heavily linked to a move for the striker. Could that happen?
I think it can still happen. The problem is the Atleti at the moment are only offering 15 million euros and PSG want 20 million euros and they're not moving. Either club are not moving. On Tuesday, there was quite a lot of optimism because Atleti thought that Leonardo, the PSG sporting director, would give in a little bit and that maybe for 17 or 18, the deal could be done. Turns out that Leonardo is not budging at all. It's 20 or nothing. If someone gives 20, Cavani can go. If no one brings 20, then Cavani will stay, even if he doesn't want to stay and even if he's out of contract in the summer. Leonardo would rather let him go for free in the summer than not getting his 20 million euros right now. You can agree or disagree or understand or not understand, but that's the way it is. And until Atleti pay the 20 million euros, Cavani is not going to go to Madrid. And it will be the same for Chelsea if they want Cavani and for United if they want Cavani as well. But right now PSG are very strict and not moving. It's 20 or nothing.
Any chance, Jules, we could see over the next day one of those clubs, as you say, maybe not even Atleti, swoop in with that 20 million and make the deal and get it done? Because Cavani wants to leave, yes?
He wants to leave, but let's not forget that he wanted to go specifically to Atleti and work with Simeone and finally those two being together, because for the last 4 years Simeone and Atletico Madrid have tried to get him from PSG and they were both very happy, I think, that it was finally about to happen or happening, if you want. And I'm not sure that Cavani would have the same excitement and enthusiasm to go to Chelsea or United, more because I think he saw himself in La Liga and not so much in the Premier League, especially at his age and especially so close towards the end of his career, really. So yes, Chelsea can try again, and they've already made contact with his brother Walter, who is his agent. Same with United, and they were told that he only wanted Atleti, but maybe things could change now that Atleti can't afford him.
We had Frank on, Jules, and he pretty much poo-pooed the idea of Cavani going and lifting a club and making them better, because he says over the last few months, obviously injury, and he hasn't looked that good when he's come on. Is that harsh? Has he still got something to offer?
It's a tricky question. He turns 33 on Valentine's Day next month. And yes, he's been injured for the last 10 months, really. Setbacks and little niggles there and there. Bigger injuries, if you want, the groin or the hamstring or the calves. And those injuries, they're not good, especially at that age and especially for a striker. So you could have question marks over his fitness for sure. The finishing touch and his ability to score goals will always be there, but the fitness has to be or can be a concern when you think about this in Cavani, and I think that could put off a few clubs to pay that kind of money now when he'll be free in 4 months' time, especially with the wages that he's on. Let's not forget he's on 14 million euros net a year. That's a lot of money for a 33-year-old. So I think there's a lot of pros, but there's also a lot of cons in his case.
If you're Atleti, would you pay the extra 5 million? Because they need a shot in the arm at the moment.
You just said it. And who's going to score the goals for Atletico Madrid? Huh? Because Diego Costa is injured. Mm-hmm. And are you leaning on Morata? Is this what we're going with? So,
Do you roll the dice? Obviously,
well,
Jules
but
mentioned.
here's the thing: if the difference is 5 million euros, and easy for me to say 5 million euros,
Yeah.
but in today's world, it feels like 5 million euros is peanuts. It feels like it shouldn't be either for PSG or Atletico Madrid. It shouldn't be all that significant. So for me, I just think they just made it into a personal issue, Atletico Madrid and PSG, and
They're just stubborn.
correct. And I know I see stubborn in the show.
You see stubborn in the mirror.
I see stubborn in the mirror, to my right, when Craig is here. I see a lot of stubborn. So
You're already throwing the dice offering 15.
Yeah,
And
just
if
do
you-
it.
If you've decided you want them, then for 5 million, really? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't do it if I was them. I think his injuries over the last 12 months is an absolute nightmare. And he's actually, they're relying on him to come in and get them up the table. He might not even kick a ball. I wouldn't do the deal, but I certainly, if I'm going to offer 15, you go with the 20.
But then that's my point, is that if you are saying 15 is good enough, are you just posturing then? Because you were never going to go to 20. And what you're saying at Atletico Madrid and to your fans, you're saying, you know what?
Right.
We tried,
Right.
but they wouldn't negotiate with us, so we did our homework. We did what we could, but we couldn't bring them. And maybe it was never in the plans for you.
Let's talk about another striker who's been linked to another big club. Solomon Rondon.
Oh, hey!
Your friend,
Vamos, Venezuela!
your fellow countryman in China at the moment.
Yeah.
To Manchester United.
Wow. Look, Salomon Rondon is a player who did a tremendous job for Newcastle, and I still think that Newcastle right now misses the presence of Salomon Rondon. But the truth is that Salomon has not played since early December, and given the schedule in China. And if that's a market that Manchester United is into now, it kind of paints a picture of where they are, and it's not necessarily a good picture. And I love me some Salomon Rondon, but man, they're digging deep.
Jules, could they get any business done over the next 24 hours that will help them in the striker department?
They're certainly trying, and I do believe that there is a contact between Rondon and Manchester United. There's also contact between Islam Slimani, who is on loan from Leicester at Monaco, and he's not playing anymore.
I take Salomon.
I know you do. I know you do, and probably rightly so. Although at least Slimani has played more recently than Salomon. But Ali is right. Right now, it's those kind of strikers. It's not Cavani, or it's not that kind of level. It's more the likes of Rondon and Slimani, and maybe they see a big man like that up front would help them a lot, and could play with Martial up front and would complement each other quite well, and I get all of that. And good for them if they believe that's the direction that they should take and go for that kind of striker. But right now, I think if you're looking beyond Rondon and Slimani or players like that, I don't think United are there right now, and there's only one there left, so they will have to make it really quick as well.
What a world, Stevie.
I tell you, if you're Solomon Rondon, you better snatch their hands off. I mean, it makes no sense to me either. That Manchester United are a counter-attacking side pretty much, whether it's home or away. They're relying on pace, intricacy at times.
Intricacy.
Solomon Rondon doesn't really come into those categories of pace and intricacy and touch.
By the way, who
Does
has,
he?
Wait. Who has intricacy
come
at
on.
Manchester United?
Come on. Well, they need some. But
okay.
if they bring him, they ain't getting that.
It's always interesting, isn't it? The final day of the transfer window. Of course, we'll be here tomorrow to keep up to date with everything that goes on. You can check it out over on our YouTube channel for all the latest videos. Dries Mertens to Chelsea, Jules. Any chance?
Well, they're certainly pushing for it. They did today again, and they will try tomorrow. They clearly have identified him as the striker that they would want. He's 32, he's out of contract in the summer, so only a few months left on his current deal at Napoli. And I was told today that the player wants to go to Chelsea as well. The problem is that between the two clubs, it's a bit more complicated than that. Chelsea made a first offer of 7 million euros. That Aurelio De Laurentiis, the Napoli president, rejected. It's quite tough to negotiate with De Laurentiis, and Marina Granovskaya, who's in charge of transfers at Chelsea, I think he's finding that true. I'm told that they might make another offer tomorrow and push for maybe 10 million euros for someone, again, who is free in 4 months or 5 months' time and who's 32. So I think this one can still go through, and they're certainly hoping at Chelsea that this one could happen. And on a French point of view, that would also mean that Giroud could leave the club, because right now Chelsea are saying, you're not going anywhere until we sign someone. And Giroud, who has tried to leave the club because he's not playing and he's not in Lampard's plans anymore for the last month or so, now if he's feeling the pressure because there's only one day left in the transfer window. So for Giroud and Mertens and Chelsea, it would be a very good thing if everybody was happy at the end of Friday tomorrow.
Mertens to Chelsea. Does it work for you?
Aye, perfect. You know, experienced guy. That's what they need, in my opinion, going forward. You know, you can't rely on Villian, you can't rely on Pedro. Pulisic can't get himself fit. Hudson-Odoi isn't doing enough. Mason Mount has kind of run out of juice. I mean, this team's screaming for some experience, in my opinion, up front. So I think he fits the bill, absolutely.
He's only little, isn't he? Same size as me.
Hey, do you know what? It doesn't matter. Messi's only little.
Well, that's...
Oh, so did you just say that Mertens is Lionel Messi? Is that what you just said?
No, there's something wrong with your ears.
Look, whatever happened to this being a youth movement? And whatever... Wait. Just relax. I already see you over here. I already see you going all... Hey, I'm not talking about throw-ins just yet. Relax. Okay? Hudson-Odoi, Christian Pulisic, William, Pedro, guys that you just mentioned, right? They all play in a similar role and similar position as Dries Mertens. So if you were going to go after a player, perhaps somebody who can actually score goals in place of Tammy Abraham, when Tammy Abraham is not playing. Somebody who can play up top. Because if Giroud is not the guy, I can tell you Michy Batshuayi is not the guy either. And so...
Solomon Rondon? Is that where we're going?
Well, why not?
We've gone
Well, why not? Well, why not? I'm just saying it's not exactly the area of most need for Chelsea. That's all.
Well, I don't know, because not all those ones I mentioned aren't scoring goals. That's the whole point, isn't it? Regardless of whether they play in the same position, the reason they're looking to bring somebody in, not only to back up Abrams, but somebody else to put the ball in the net.
Right.
They ain't scoring, so why not?
But Mertens is not a guy that plays down the middle.
But I know, but they need somebody else that's going to put the ball in the net. Those four, none of them are putting the ball in the net.
Time will tell. It will tell pretty quickly, of course, with the transfer window shutting tomorrow for all the latest.
What a jacket that is.
His jacket.
A rascal.
What? Impressive. Check it out over on the website. Full programme matches here on ESPN Plus for you in Serie A this weekend. On Saturday, Sassuolo against Roma. Sunday, early start, good one as well. Juve take on Fiorentina, then it's AC Milan against Hellas Verona, Atalanta, Genoa, Lazio, Spal. And then on ESPN News at 2:30, Udinese play host to Inter Milan. And then on Monday, Sampdoria take on Napoli. That's at 2:45 here on Plus. Of course, on Plus this season, the Copa del Rey, it served up some surprises already this campaign. This, a huge one. Fernandes against Sevilla, 7 minutes in, and it's the hosts who take the lead.
Oh, what a beautiful turn that is in the penalty box. Back to goal, real striker's goal. What a finish.
And then with 15 minutes to go in the first half, Ayas gets his second.
Puts his laces through the ball, but huge deflection. Goalkeeper is leaning to the right, cannot come back to the left. 2-0.
And that is how it remained up until the 85th minute, where Fernandes would get their third to guarantee a place in the next round.
I mean, it's a great finish in the end from Ray, but look at all his white jerseys and a goalie just standing looking at him, nobody closing him, and he just smashes it home.
Fans loving it. Alvaro Rey scoring in the Copa del Rey to see them through to the next round. Meanwhile, it's a Coupe de France in France. Nice against Lyon. 15 minutes into this one. Moussa Dembele makes it 1-0.
I'm glad that the Coupe de France is in France, Dan.
Just to confirm.
Okay.
Just to save any sort of confusion.
The night's finish with the far post.
So 1-0. That was in the 15th minute. Looked like Lyon would be fine. Late drama though. The 89th minute. What a beautiful finish.
I mean, Nunes just comes in on his left peg. I didn't fancy him, but he smashed it home.
And then needs looking to play it out in the back. Get caught in possession. And then, get ready, here it comes. Penalty is awarded for the challenge leading up to this. Here it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No question about it.
Hold on.
100% a penalty.
But he's off the field.
He's off. Yeah, but it still counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it then. The penalty is scored. Lyon are through to the next round. Ooh, drama, Jules.
A lot of drama and a lot of controversy, as you just mentioned, with the penalty, and it's a big debate back home about it and everything. But today was good. The game was good because of the drama, obviously, the end of the game, but also because it was another start for the latest prodigy to come out of the Lyon Academy, like Benzema and Nabil Fekir and others. And the name is Ryan Cherki. He's only 16, and he was outstanding in the last round of the Coupe de France against Nantes, where he scored 2 and set up 2. He was still quite good today, not with the same efficiency because he didn't score or didn't assist, but he's certainly a name to remember. Ryan Cherki, only 16 years of age, but clearly a great future ahead of him.
Meanwhile, what an evening it was for Christine Sinclair, the Canadian international, scoring 2 goals in their win against St Kitts. The second one making her the all-time highest goal scorer in international football, 185 goals. An extraordinary achievement. Well, just a reminder, of course, we're not long away now from opening weekend of MLS, and what a doubleheader we have for you on March 1st. The defending champions, Seattle Sounders against Chicago Fire. That's at 3, immediately followed by LAFC against the new boys, Inter Miami. Both of those games available on ESPN. Another day off for Xhaka, so he emailed in his power rankings.
Well, he's been mailing that for the last 10 years.
Very much
That's
so.
rubbish. He needs more than a day off.
Barcelona out after their defeat against Valencia. No love for their win in the Copa del Rey today. Liverpool 1, PSG, Real Madrid, Bayern. Juventus down 2 after their defeat at the weekend. Lazio
Why is Lazio up 3?
move up to 6th. This problem is I can't defend any of this nonsense.
How did Lazio get up 3?
I don't know. Bayern Munich are 4th. They're still behind Leipzig.
And Manchester City are hanging on.
Yeah, Borussia Dortmund, Manchester City and Benfica are there. If it's a slow final transfer day, we will discuss it more at length with Xhaka tomorrow. I'm supposed to go to Jules and get his opinion on it. I don't know what you're going to say, Jules.
I love that Benfica just made a new appearance in the power ranking. You just don't know why. They won a league game at the weekend, but suddenly they're like on 10th. And that's brilliant.
Yeah, there's no logic. No logic to it whatsoever.
Let's not try to explain it, though.
If you didn't see it, Inter, of course, made quite the fuss of their latest signing. Christian Eriksen in his unvailing video.
Wait a minute.
Look at this.
He's been watching reruns of Spurs this season.
Wait a minute.
He's asleep. In the Opera House.
Ooh.
Nicely done. There he is, emerging.
What a smile that is.
That is what you call a stick-on smile.
There he is.
Oh, by the way.
How would you feel about doing those, Stevie, back then? When you moved to Sheffield Wednesday?
Let me tell you, only his mother is going to think that's fantastic. Because everybody else that knows him is going to be cringing for him.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Would you have said, no, you're not doing it? You would have done it, wouldn't you?
The problem is, you're going to a big team and you want to please. So
Yes.
you'll end up doing stuff you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, you just say yes to everything.
Well, yeah, and he looks... How uncomfortable does he look there?
Yeah.
The old stick-on like that.
What was he? Was it Ian Rush when he went to Italy? He did a video, but...
No, he got off the plane. He got off the plane and the guy stuck a camera, a microphone in his face.
Because there were lots of people there to greet him.
Oh, there was like 5,000. There was 5,000 people there, and he'd probably had 5,000 beers on the private plane, not thinking there was going to be a camera. And they said, "Mr. Rush, have you anything to say to the Juventus fans?" And he went, "Welcome." Goes like that.
And that was it.
That was it. He went, "Oh, right." They
You know,
shoved him away.
Chivas USA, did they do something similar when you went there, Ali?
I'm not quite sure that they even knew I was there. Now, I will tell you, the teammates won't forget this.
Yeah.
You see, so I know I haven't been in a locker room for a while now, but I have to imagine that if you're a teammate and you see this, you put that away. And then once you develop a relationship with him, then you bring that out and make sure that it's not only public knowledge, but you do something with it. You build upon it.
Meanwhile, let's end the show with a big news, shall we? Reports suggesting that Neymar is somewhat streamlining his party this year. Not as big, not as extravagant.
No Julian?
Well, he's bottled it.
Of course, Jules went last year. Does this mean, Jules, that you will not be attending this year?
He gone.
No, I'm going. Of course, I'll be there. And you know, the dress code this year is white, all in white. So last year we were in red. This year we're in white.
Does that include white shoes?
Yes, I read it as
What a strange
everything white.
question.
Well, not really, no. Because,
Why?
No, because a guy used to play for us, Ronnie Whelan.
Yeah.
Came down, we were pre-season, he came down with a pair of white pants and a pair of white shoes on. And so what you had to do was whenever you went near him, you had to accidentally stand on his toes.
Right.
And so his shoes and the bottom of his trousers ended up with mud and everything all over them. That's the kind of things that we used
Cool
to go
story,
through.
Stevie.
Stevie?
Walk up with the bag, go like that. Oh, sorry, Ron. He'd be like,
Will they be wearing white shoes? That's a big question of the day.
So Julian is going to the party.
He is going,
Yes.
dressed in white.
Wow.
There you are. I don't think Gab's going.
No,
thank
well,
you.
that's a lot of white. That's a lot
very
of
much
white.
then,
That's a white
Jules.
house.
that's a big tent.
To Ali and to Stevie. Like the way to end the show. There we go. We'll be back tomorrow, of course. Transfer deadline day in Europe. We'll be keeping you up to date with all the latest news as and when it happens. Welcome into Extra Time when it was announced that Stevie and Jules be reunited after their tete-a-tete last week regarding the throwing coach, which just seemed to be everywhere, all over social media. The first tweet says, Stevie's thoughts on Liverpool going from third worst in the Premier League to second best in all of Europe in throwing possession retention after getting their throwing coach. Do you think that makes a difference?
What? That actually exists? Throwing possession retention?
Seriously. Well, I'll tell you right now, I don't trust anything like that nonsense they've just come out with. I wouldn't trust. You're telling me there's a guy sat in the stand doing all this, counting all this, and
Yep.
Listen, I've had encounters with such
Individuals?
individuals.
Yes.
And I can assure you, I wouldn't be trusting anything they say.
The interesting thing is, Jules, that you've become like now the bastion of throwing coaches.
yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
like the spokesman for it,
Yeah.
it seems.
Yes. I mean, myself, I work in my house about how to throw the ball and combinations and movement, blocks, all of that. So.
Well, I thought it was interesting,
I'm the
Jules.
spokesperson.
Here we go. Step back, Ali.
Jules, I thought it was interesting, right? Because the one thing about this whole throw-in coach that I agreed with is that maybe somebody could show you a better technique and how to throw it farther, right? That's the one thing I don't have a problem with. But I'll tell you what, I was watching Andy Robertson and they get a close-up of him, and I've watched all the videos and I've talked to people that have been involved in this guy's
Camps.
camps and stuff, and Andy Robertson's juggling the ball in the air, waiting to throw it. Just waiting to get ready to throw it. Now, I'm assuming Andy Robertson's going to get his bottom scalped by the throw-in coach for doing that, if he sees it. So clearly he's not listening to what the guy's telling him.
That's it. That's where we went for all of this for. Andy Robertson doing that before a throw-in.
Well, if it's all about the throw-in coach, then
Oh, God.
Honestly. We can move on, right? We can let it go, can't we?
you can move on wherever you want. I'm just telling you.
I'm just saying.
Clearly, as far as Andy's concerned, he's not listening to what the guy tells him.
He's in trouble. That's where
Well,
we're
he
going.
will be.
Okay. What,
And by the way, a scalp.
what do you
You know what a
think?
scalp is?
Well, no, but
I assume it was like a little tap on the
Correct.
butt, yeah?
Spank.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, there we are.
Now, when you were a manager, how in touch were you with the throwing possession retention stat?
I just didn't quite have time
Hey.
to dig them out.
Stevie, what annoys you the most in football apart from the throwing coach?
Do you know what really bugs me?
There's a lot. I watch a lot of football with you, and there's a lot of things that annoy
There's a
you.
lot of like, all this hugging and all that before games and straight at half time and
Changing jerseys at
changing
halftime?
jerseys before the end
Yeah.
of the game and all this nonsense.
You don't like the interaction between the two
Oh,
teams before the game?
absolutely not. I mean, if any of our coaching staff had caught us doing any of that,
Yeah.
he would have come straight up and stuck my finger right in your face and said, what do you think you're doing?
What about when people smile when they miss? You get very angry at that.
Aye, I can't stand that. What's funny about that, missing? Seriously.
Hey, you know that? You know
Try to give it the old, it's trying to give it the old, I'm not really bothered, yeah. Which is even more annoying, because you should be bothered.
Hey, you know who does that quite often? Another guy that annoys you. Salah.
It doesn't annoy me. He frustrates me, Salah. It doesn't annoy me. There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a complete difference. And when you're annoyed, you want to go and punch somebody right in the chops.
Oh dear.
When you're frustrated,
Well, I'm glad Jules is in London.
yeah, you better stay there, Jules. I know.
If Barca are so desperate for a striker in the short term, why don't they just try and sign Giroud, Jules?
That's a good question. Maybe they just don't think he's, I don't know, good enough for them. Or I mean, today they reach a new level in the kind of nonsense that club can do with Cédric Bakambu, the former Villarreal and Sochaux in France striker, who now plays in China. Who they find an agreement with his club. He moved from China to Hong Kong to take a flight to come to Barcelona and sign his contract. And then they said, you know, actually, we've changed our mind. You can stay in Hong Kong. And I mean, they just messed him up completely. And you're Barcelona. You can't do things like that either. And I mean, I don't know how much he says that they were ready to sign Bakambu either, or the fact that they completely mess him around, or what. But that whole, we're going to sign a striker and we're not signing a striker and maybe we could sign him or him or him or him or him, as was a complete mess, let's be honest, this month for Barcelona.
Ali,
Yeah.
who's the funniest player you've ever played with?
Wow.
Because it takes quite a lot to make you laugh.
Say what? You just made them laugh.
That's right. Because we've worked together long enough. If I did that when we first started, it would have been a stare of doom.
No. Lionel Bielma from the national team in Venezuela.
Right.
My early years with the national team. And what a character he was. And none of the things that he would do I can tell on this forum.
Right.
But
could you draw us a picture?
No, actually, no, thanks. It's just a guy that you walked into the locker room, you knew he had something to say,
right,
and usually was going to be funny. And I remember I scored a goal against Ecuador, and it was an important goal.
Yep.
World Cup qualifiers. We had just lost to Brazil, and I came into the team bus, feeling good about myself. A game-winning goal. We just won. It's like from the back, all I hear. I don't even see him. All I hear, "Sit down, gringo. It's just Ecuador." It was that sort of. He always had something to say, and I enjoyed his company quite a bit, actually.
What about you, Stevie?
Alan Roth.
Who's Alan Rough?
Who's Alan Roth? He was a goalkeeper for Scotland.
Right.
86 World Cup. He told us the same joke about 20 times, and every single time the whole bus collapsed.
He just
tweaked it every time. It was, in general, he was hilarious, but just a funny guy.
Those guys, though, in the locker room, it's so critical and so important to have those guys.
Yeah.
Because you're in a pressure environment, and you need somebody who can make fun of themselves, make fun of others, make fun of the coaches, make fun of the president, whoever. And it just takes the edge off, and it allows everybody just to kind of relax a little bit.
Alan Roth went to the 82 World Cup as well with Scotland, with Jock Stein. And they pretty much got locked up for the whole time they were there.
Right.
So he turned up because Alex Ferguson had a reputation, same as Jock, for,
Being hard.
being hard. So he turned up to go away to the World Cup. Now we were away for, I think, 4.5 weeks, and it could have been longer. He had one bag, not a case, he had one bag, right? Because we were all turning up with cases, and he's like that. He's like, yeah, great. What are you bothering with all that stuff? He said, we'll never see the light of day. He said, you'll be stuck in your room the whole time. Anyway, Ruffy, the whole trip, borrowed stuff off everybody.
Because Fergie was more relaxed than you thought he would be.
He was like that, right? We were like that. So Ruffy borrowed clothes, he got shoes from me, he got a jumper, he got T-shirts, he got everything. He borrowed something from everybody in the squad. And so when he went home, he had to buy a couple of cases to take all the gear because he never gave him any stuff back.
Stevie, who has the worst tattoos of any player you've played with? What was it? Where on the body was it?
I've no idea, but I'll just tell you, I'm not a huge fan of tattoos.
No.
I understand somebody getting, you know, a little thing on their heart or a little thing with somebody's name.
Little thing on their heart.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you see.
Well, if you lost
like,
somebody, if you lost your mother, for example.
Oh.
So, I mean, I don't mind something like that. But,
Right.
But when somebody's got their whole back, some of these players you see with their whole back and front and everything, it screams of boredom to me, to be honest. What will I do the day? I'll get out of tattoo.
Yeah. A couple of things that I came up short with in my career were, well, scoring
Goals.
scoring enough goals. That's
Speed.
First, yes, that too. And neck tattoos.
Pace.
Not enough neck tattoos.
Yes.
I didn't have enough of those.
Like Edison's is prominent.
I don't get it.
Jules, do you have any tattoos?
I don't have any tattoos, no.
All right, thanks.
All right, all right.
Cheers.
Appreciate that.
Sorry.
Hey, do you like nails tattoos? Hey?
He's got too many for me.
Oh, you better not let him know that. You'll get your invite revoked. From the party.
Final question is a good one for you, Jules. Does the boat behind you ever move?
So he's been there for a long time. And, I believe right now he's just happy to be there, not moving.
Yep, that seems to be it. That is it. Thank you very much. We are done. We will be back tomorrow, transfer deadline day.
Hey.
Oh, I think it'll be excitement.
Can't wait.
We will be here
Hey.
with bells and whistles on.
Hey.